Um, Hello, thank you so much for joining. So I think we can kindly just give it a bit more time, probably 5 minutes. We can start at 3:10. Yeah, just to give time for anyone who's intending to join, and then we can begin at 3:10. In the meantime, if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can, if you'd love to speak, kindly just raise your hand. We'll give you a chance to speak. If you prefer noting the question down, just feel free to share. We'll be happy to address them. As for those who are joining, we are kindly requesting just we give a bit more time for other participants, and then we can officially begin at 3:10. Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. I think it's safe for us to begin. So I'll just love to begin with thanking all of you for joining the session today. And I hope we're going to have a very interactive session. So if you have any questions, again, please feel free to, you can request to speak. You can also share the questions that you have on the chat or on the Q&A section. So like we did the previous time, because we have a new feature known as the dryers, and we'd love to allocate good amount of time to walk us to go through the dryer section. This is the section that I'm talking about. So I'll just start with an overview of what we've previously done on FarmCloud, and then we can immediately go to a detailed explanation on the dryer section. So I think after I'm done with the overview of the previous features, I'll leave room for any questions in case if someone needs a better explanation on a certain feature. We can definitely walk through that, and then we can now head over to the dryer section. So once again, this is FarmCloud. So FarmCloud is our software platform that we use for daily record work keeping. So you want to keep consistent records, FarmCloud is the place for you. So at the beginning, as you can see, we have the summary page, which gives you an overview of what exactly is going on in from the weather information, the number of employees in your farm, the crops that are in production, the type of structure that you have, if it's a greenhouse, if you're doing open field farming, if you have a greenhouse, a shade net, and you get an overview of the financial summary. And then by how frequently you do your daily work report, you're going to see the bar graphs adjusting. The more you do it, the more the bar graphs keep updating. So yeah, let's begin with the first section. The first section, which is usually the farm asset. So under farm asset, we have three things: farm elements, farm inventory, and dryers. So we'll skip dryers for now for the detailed explanation, and then go through farm elements and farm inventory. So under farm asset is basically feeding the platform information of what you have. As previously mentioned, depending on the type of structure you have. So if you have a greenhouse, you add the specific greenhouse inside the platform, you attach the plant that you're growing in that specific greenhouse, and then you save it. So now the system is aware that we have a specific greenhouse that we're growing a specific crop. So the same is applicable to all these other structures. So if it's an open field, add that specific block. Once you've added the block, attach a crop to that specific block. Something to note is that under the adding a plant section, we do have two options, either plant or seedling. So if you're doing the normal planting, then definitely plant is the way to go. But if you're doing propagation, then you select seedling, confirm, and fill in the required information. Okay, so from there, after you've indicated the type of structure that you have in your farm and the plant that you're growing, the next step is under farm inventory. And under farm inventory, we have fertilizers, agrochemicals, and seedlings. So ideally, what is the specific fertilizer or agrochemical you have in your farm? So you just add it, you attach that specific fertilizer, the supplier, the quantity that you currently have, the minimum quantity alert, which ideally is just to gauge yourself whenever your inputs are almost running out, you can get a notification inside the platform that you need to restock a specific fertilizer. It's almost running out. So fertilizers and agrochemicals, same thing. Now under seedling section, as shown you previously on farm elements. So in order for you to add a seedling as a plant in your element, either a greenhouse, you have to have it in the farm inventory section just to record keep the type of seeds you are propagating. So when you tap on add a seedling, there are some basic information that you are required to fill in. So you'll fill in all this information, the lot details, supplier, date you are adding, and then you add it. So once that's added, I think it's safe for us to conclude under farm elements and farm inventory, we are feeding information inside the system, the structure that you have, the type of inputs that you have. So after this, the next step is usually daily work reports. So just as the name suggests, daily work reports all the daily activities that you're doing in your farm. Fertilizer application being one of them, agrochemical application, and this is how the report looks like. So you have to attach that report to an element, and remember, an element is a structure. So if it's a greenhouse, you attach a greenhouse, the specific plant that's been grown there, the stage, you'll be given a variety of stages, the name of the fertilizer that you're applying, date of application, time of application, quantity, we can say we just apply 10 kgs, method used, drenching, and then you can attach any additional notes that are applicable. Another thing to note is that under fertilizer report, you're allowed to add as many reports as possible just to save on time on how quickly you do the daily work report. So for fertilizer, you can add multiple reports at the same time. Yeah, so heading over to agrochemicals is basically the exact same thing we've done for fertilizer. Nothing changes, it's just the name of that specific input. So after that, we have scouting. So under scouting report is basically what were you able to see while at the farm? Again, same steps that we've done. You select the elements, you select the variety, the stage that you're in, date of scouting, and then include a brief description. So spotted, yellowing of leaves. And then you can attach an image of what exactly you saw, and then attach any additional notes and save. After that, we have manual irrigation. So under manual irrigation, what was the amount of water you used on that specific period? So again, you select the elements, you select the variety, the stage that you're in, the time of application, the duration you are irrigating for, the quantity, you can say 100 liters. Method used, you can say drip irrigation, and then attach any additional notes that might be applicable. And then next we have the pre-harvest report. So under pre-harvest report, it's a bit unique because you have a checklist that you need to mark. Now, depending on the situation at your farm, you'll just have to mark this checklist just to gauge yourself. Are you actually ready for harvesting, or some few things need to be rectified? So before we tackle harvest, let's go on other. So under other reports, from what we've highlighted on the platform, those are not the only activities that are taken inside the farm. So if there's any other activity you'd love to include, the only difference with this one is that you'll have to give your report a name. So once you've given your report a name, you now follow the same steps we've been doing. Attach to a farm element, attach a variety, date, and then include a brief description that is applicable to the specific report that you're writing. So now heading over to harvest. So harvest, same thing that we've been doing. Ensure that you've attached the report to a specific element, the plant variety, the date, the time. So now you have the harvest quantities. So, and here you've been given a variety of quantities to choose from. You have kilograms, you have metric tons, you have pounds, you have bushels, you have bushels, sorry, you have liters, you have gallons. Now, depending on the quantity or unit of measurement you're using, you'll be able to evaluate. And then harvest is classified into three, either high quality, low quality, or harvest lost. So for low quality and harvest lost, it's not mandatory. If it's applicable to you, fine. If it's not, just leave it blank and save that harvest report. So we've covered farm elements and daily work reports. I want to head over to weather and satellite. I just want to know if there's any question. Okay, so there are no questions. I'd highly appreciate a thumbs up so that at least I know I'm in the clear for us to proceed. Okay, so we have this section for weather and satellite. So under weather and satellite feature, it's basically whereby you get weather forecasting, and also you get to monitor how healthy your crops are doing with the help of indices. So under weather information, you get the temperature information, that is maximum temperature and minimum temperature. So you also get the total area covered by the boundary you've plotted, current soil data, that is temperature at the top of the soil, temperature 10 centimeters deep, and you also get to know the soil moisture content. So now under weather data, you get three types of forecast: hourly, daily, and historical weather forecast. And something to note under historical weather forecast, you can only backtrack up to 1 year. Okay. So heading over to satellite. Satellite is a bit broad, but also quite easy once you get a hang of it. So satellite information, satellite data is whereby you use indices to evaluate how healthy your crops are doing. And these are the indices that I'm talking about. So now, these indices are classified into two: one that focuses on the greenness and healthiness of the crop, and one that focuses on the moisture content. So for the greenness of the crop, we have EVI, EVI2, NRI, and and NDVI, and NDVI. So now, the higher the values for what I've mentioned, NDVI, EVI1, EVI2, and NRI, the higher the value, the indication of a healthier crop, the lower the value, the indication that the crops are stressed. So another thing to add on the export feature, on the weather and satellite feature, is that you can export this data. So if you want to export your satellite data, it's very much possible. So you'll just filter out from which day to which day, and then you're able to download that report as a PDF. So another thing under daily work report, I forgot to mention. So under daily work report, you also get a traceability report. So you can have it, and yeah. Okay. I think we can head over to Farm Shield. So now under Farm Shield is our smart device, smart IoT device, which is used to automate irrigation and also monitoring environmental conditions. So now, if you have Farm Shield to your farm, we are going to link that device to your account so that you can be able to view the information of what the device is doing inside of FarmCloud. So my device is currently offline. But now how it's going to automate the irrigation, you're going to get that information, the moisture level, what's the valve position, if it's open or closed. You also get the amount of water dispensed since you started using the device. And then you have sensor data. Under sensors, under sensor data, now this is dependent on the type of sensors you have in your farm. So we have NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So the sensor is called NPK sensor. So it's used to monitor nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium level. So we have soil moisture, which is used for automation of irrigation. We have soil temperature. We have air humidity, air temperature, CO2, and light intensity. Now, just to briefly cover the marketplace. So under marketplace is whereby we give you an option as a farmer and user of FarmCloud. So if a buyer posts that they are interested in a specific product and that specific product is in line with what you're growing and you're ready to harvest or rather sell, you will post a quotation inside the platform. So if it aligns between you and the buyer, an order is going to be placed. So ideally, that's just how the market feature works. And then you have farm staff. So in an instance whereby you'd love to have more than one person inside your platform, farm staff is usually the section. So you can tap on add a user and you can limit and restrict their capabilities inside the platform. So enter their email address, select their role, if they're a farm worker or a farm manager, and then confirm or reject or restrict that option. So if you don't want your farm worker to have access to your financial record, you can leave it like this. But if you'd love, if they play a key part in the financial records, then definitely you can include them. And then you send an invite. Okay. So now let's tackle the last bit, which is going to be accounting. So under accounting, just as the name suggests, anything that involves money inside your account. So under products and services, again, it's anything that generates income inside your farm. First of all, harvest. Harvest is considered as source of income in FarmCloud. So any other service that you may be selling and you're earning income from them, products and services will be the best section. So just to show you how the report looks like, you give it a name, the type of asset that you have, either farm service, or farm product, the unit of measurement, if it's charged per kg, charged per hour, charged per piece, depending on how you charge it, and then include a brief description. And then you have income and expenses. So under income, so whenever you receive money from your buyers, whenever you receive money, this is, and you want to generate an invoice, this is the section to do so. You generate your invoice. Once you've generated your invoice, you now share with your buyer. Once the buyer confirms receipt of the invoice and makes a payment, you also include that you've received a payment on this same section. And then we have expenses. So under expenses, just as the name suggests, what's the cost you spent on the entire farm? So now expenses are categorized into two: general expenses and element specific expense. So general expense, so these are expenses that affect the entire farm. Things like electricity, water bill, those are general expenses. They affect the entire farm. And then we have element specific expense. Remember, when I began, I explained that we have the farm element section. So element is the structure. So for example, if a greenhouse, buying the seedlings for a greenhouse is more expensive compared to buying the seedlings for an open field, you can ensure you separate those expenses just to keep a clear record of which section took which money. Okay. And lastly, we have buyers. So under buyers, any basic information about your buyer, just to keep a proper record of who you're doing business with. And something to note, you cannot be able to proceed with generating an invoice if you haven't attached that invoice to a buyer. So having buyer's information is quite important. But once, ideally, this is how the report looks like. So you just need to give basic information that you know about your buyer. Once that's done, whenever you generate an invoice, you attach it to a specific buyer. So we'd love to cater to walk through dryers, but before we do so, I'll just leave room for any questions, and then from there we can proceed now with dryers. If you prefer to speak, just let us know. I'll give you a chance to speak. If not, just feel free to send us a message. And if everything is okay, there are no pending questions, you can just give us a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. It's great to hear that all is okay. So I think now I'm going to invite my colleague Sam to go through the dryers section. So just a brief overview of the idea behind dryer. So we recently launched a solution known as smart solar dryers. So smart solar dryers, the main idea behind it was to ensure that we help farmers curb post-harvest losses. So instead of your produce going to waste, you can dry them and sell them rather than waiting for it to rot and throw it away. So now, after developing this platform, we wanted to give the users an option to have proper records of their drying, what how many batches, what's the quantity, input and output, what's the humidity level, what's the temperature level. So ideally just having proper record the way we do for normal planting, we now want to have proper records for drying. Yes. So I'll give room for my colleague to present the dryers. And then once he's done, we can probably discuss the various sizes that we offer for the solar dryers and also pricing. Yes. So I think I'll invite my colleague first to take us through dryers on FarmCloud. And then from there, we can handle any other further inquiries. But in the meantime, if there's any questions you'd love for them to be addressed, please feel free to share them with us.
Good afternoon. My name is Samuel, and I am co-host alongside Stacy. And let me welcome you again to our monthly webinar, where I'm going to take you through the dryer section. And now, for dryers, there are two ways on how you can manage your crops inside the dryer. The first one is by you manually drying your produce yourself without the help of our IoT sensors. And the second one is now when Cinefa through FarmCloud, we come to your farm and we install the IoT sensors inside your solar dryer. If you go to your FarmCloud account, when you don't have a dryer, you'll see that no dryers are added, and you have an option to add your first dryer. This is if you wish to move on the manual path where you add your dryer, you give it a name, but key to note is that you won't have the sensors unless you contact Cinefa and will be able to come in, install the IoT sensors into your farm. And now the second one is first you have to contact Cinefa, and then you can add the IoT sensors into your farm, and the dryer will automatically appear in this section of dryer, so you won't have to manually add your first dryer. I'll take you through the manual process and then also through the automatic addition of your farm's dryer. So first you have to add your first dryer where you'll give it a name. Let's say my first dryer. Oh, Then the date installed, um, the date is installed, let's say today, and then the capacity. This is the size of your dryer. Um, how many of your crop produce can the dryer carry at one given drying period or at one given time? So we can say 100 square meters. And then temperature. Temperature unit is the unit of measurement. You'll be measuring your crop with, say degrees, and the moisture unit is the unit which you'll be measuring your crop with, say relative humidity as percentage. And then description. You can write rather a small description detailing how and what you're drying. Say my coffee dryer. If you're drying coffee or let's say mangoes and the likes, then I click continue. So you see we have a list of dryers, and you can see on this section over here, on this column, we don't have a device because we used the manual edition. If we had a device, you'll see the device name over here. And the dryer status is inactive because we haven't yet added a crop inside the dryer on the system. So once you add a crop into your dryer, you click on this dryer, and then you'll see that you don't have no crop batches yet. So you'll have to add a crop. You select the plant variety. Then we have the batch information. So batch information is a section of a collection of your crop that you want to grow at a given period of time. So we can say batch one, and the drying start date is today. Then here we have a toggle button which reads enter weight, enter total weight as this. Now, let's say you have 10 bags which you want to dry all at once. So this batch one will consist of 10 bags of, let's say, coffee. And the cumulative total of those 10 bags is, let's say, 100 kgs. And you can record 100 kgs. Now, if you want to record weight per bag, you can say number of bags, and we have 10 bags, and weight per bag is, let's say, 100. So the total weight will be 100 times 10, and then you have our batch quality. Can select this is for demonstration purposes. So you have to select the correct batch quality, then you can add crop. Once you add the crop, this is the crop description, and the batch that you have added when creating the crop inside the solar dryer is listed over here. So just to recap, you first need to have a dryer, and then inside that dryer, you select the crops that you want to dry, if it's mangoes or coffee or any produce that you want to dry. And then you come to FarmCloud, you record that here. Now you'll see the crop and the batch. This batch is for this crop. Now inside the crop, when you do your your routine checkup for drying and also harvesting, because you might find that the different section of your batch dry differently, or you want to harvest your dry produce uh, at different times. We have an unload report for that, and also a quality check report for when you come to inspect your day-to-day checking for your dryers. So here we can see the batch information, and now we need to create a report. Now when you create a report, you have to select if it is a quality check report or a batch and load report. As I have said, quality check report is for routine checkup of the batches that you are drying. So you select a quality check report, then you click continue. This is the batch because can select it, and then date is when you did the the check for that batch, and then you have product readings. Now, product readings, we have temperature and humidity. Temperature is the temperature of the product. So if our copy is, let's say, 5 5 degrees, and then the humidity, can say it's 50%. So 50% is at the time we are recording this batch. Then notes you have to write something more descriptive. We can say temperature, 5 degrees, humidity. Then you can add an attachment, which is optional, and then you continue. Okay, then you review and then you save the report. So after you save the report, okay, you'll see that quality check report is this one over here. Now, once you've reached you and it's now time to unload itself, comment, record and unload report. So it's the same process. You click here, you say batch unload report. Then you enter the total weight. We had 1,000, so I can say like 600. The drying quality, if it's excellent, good, fair, you can say excellent. And then the moisture content as percent, you can say that. And then you can add any notes and then you continue. Now we have a toggle button here. When you harvest the final batch, maybe you harvest the batch all at once without having any more unloads. So you can close this batch. Closing means that this is the last batch report that you record inside that batch. So you can mark that entire batch as complete. And now you can proceed to use the dryer for other crops and record this batch as completely closed. So you can close the batch, or if you have more batches that you want to record as you unload them, you can just save the report. So you see we have unload report and quality report. To view the quality report, you press OK here. Give me a minute. We have also the unload report. To view the quality report and the unload report, I've been told that it's being worked on. It's a new, it will be part of the next update and release. So we have more goodies coming along the way. Stay tuned and continue using FarmCloud. Now, as I have told you, we have complete batch. Complete batch is now when you've recorded your share of the unload reports. So you can complete this batch here. You can see the important information, and then you can complete and close the batch. And now this batch, you'll see it has been marked as completed. Is now inactive since the batch that we had inside is completed. If we had multiple batches, the crop will be still active because we still have other batches for that given crop inside the dryer. And now with that, we've come to the end of manual addition of the dryer. So the remaining bit is just to show you how the IoT sensors work inside the FarmCloud for this given dryer. Let me know if you have questions before we proceed, and then I'll be able to answer them. Okay, I see that we have some few questions. I'll let Stacy uh, read them out, and then we can answer them in the live section.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam, for that detailed presentation. So we have a question here. Someone has mentioned that they are currently implementing a project, and they'd want to know how the solar dryers will be of help to them. And considering it's a rural area, and they are also inquiring about the pricing. So, um, so first of all, if I can give you a real-time example of a cooperative we've worked with who were drying coffee on the sun drying method, whereby they'd ideally take up to 14 days or even more when the weather is bad. But since they implemented our solar dryers, they take up to 3 to 4 days to dry their produce, and also contamination. Contrary to having your produce outside and having them in an enclosed area, you're guaranteed that your produce will maintain the same quality and there won't be any contamination. Now, to address the pricing bit, so we have two options. So the first option is the full ownership plan, depending on the specific size of solar dryer you'd love to go for. Alternatively, if you we've also put into consideration at least to have a fair mode of payment. So we have the rent to own option. So under the rent to own option, other than paying 100%, we allow you to make a payment of either 30 to 35% of the total payment. We come do the installation, and then from there we'll have an agreement that you're going to finish up your payment in the next either 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months, depending on the size of solar dryer you chose. And then from there you'll have like a monthly charge, so that makes it easier for someone to get our solar dryers, compared to if we just had the option for full ownership only. So we do have the option for rent to own, just to accommodate anyone who would prefer that option. So there is another question. Do we use the weights? Do we use the weight before drying? Does this mean that every day we have to measure the weight? I think I'll pass this question to Sam to address it. In the meantime, if there is any further questions, just feel free to send us a chat. We'll address them.
Okay, so the question is, do we use the weight before drying? And does this mean that every day we have to measure the weight? What usually goes on from the um, case studies that we've had is that when now you, let's say you're drying for this customer who's asking, say they are drying groundnuts. The first time you are loading your dryer with the groundnut, you have to measure the weight of the groundnut. Then now you can take the groundnuts and lay them inside the dryer in form of batches. Now, when you record the quality check report, the quality check report is just measuring the temperature and also the humidity of the crop. If you have the dryer and the sensors, you'll be able to know the humidity of the atmosphere and also the temperature of the atmosphere. So when uh, recording the quality check report, you don't have to record the weight every day. When you move on to now the unload report, the unload report is when the drying has been completed and you are satisfied with the recordings that you've recorded in the quality check report. So let's say during the first recording, you saw that the moisture is a given percentage, let's say 10, the moisture again is 15, or no, or like 5, 3, 2. Now you can decide it's time to unload this batch and give room for other crops to be dried so that I can go and sell this produce. So when you record a batch and load report, you also measure the weight. So this is the weight of the output that you have dried. So you can see the difference between when you first registered the crop inside the dryer and now when you're removing it so that you can take it to supply it or into the store for more processing or supplying to customers. So every day you don't have to record the weight. The weight is only recorded at the time you are unloading the dried produce. Okay, great. Any more questions?
Okay. So thank you so much for the questions. Also just to point out, because they've mentioned that the project that they're implementing, they want to work on groundnut and pepper. So those are actually value chains that we've tackled. So yeah, just feel free. You can just feel free to. We'd prefer having another session with you. You can just let us know and I can I can reach out to you. Okay, so there's another question. How often do you have to clean the equipment? Okay, so for the solar dryer itself, it's entirely now the level of hygiene depends on the type of on the type of produce you're drying. So for example, if you're drying cereals and for someone who's drying cereals and for someone who's drying fruits, the level of hygiene is going to be quite different. Not to say they're not supposed to be hygienic, but the level is definitely going to be different because one is cereal, the other one is quite open and it's peeled. And once it's dried, it's going to be consumed directly. So now I'd say it really depends on you as an organization. Yeah. But for the farmers that you're working with that are drying mangoes, they clean their solar dryer on a daily basis just to ensure that the level of hygiene is top notch. So yeah, you can maintain the same standard for your solar dryer as well. Okay, I don't know if there's any question. If there's none, we'd highly appreciate a thumbs up so that we can move forward.
All right. So let me show you how your your farm on your farm account on FarmCloud will look like when you have a dryer assigned to your farm by Snefa. So again, in the dryer section, we have this manual dryer. You see no device. Then you have this dryer over here with a device. If we go into the dryer, you can click this link over there, or you can also view info of the dryer. Now you'll see that this is the uh, assigned device, the device ID, the device name, the status. Now the device is offline and the data signed. I've told you that once you have the IoT device inside your dryer, it will be able to measure the temperature of the atmosphere and the humidity. And this one has been offline for a while. Now, if we need to view the device reading, we'll be able to view that at a later time because we're still rolling out this new feature. So once you've been assigned this device in your farm, you'll be able to get now the atmosphere readings and the humidity, so which will be very crucial into guiding you on the drying process. That's it for our dryer section. If you have any question about the dryer or more questions about the drying process, you can reach out to Stacy, and she'll be able to guide you through the entire process uh, correctly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam, for that. So just to note, as we're coming to the end of the webinar, so for every new subscription, we are giving you a discount. So if you are interested, please feel free to reach out to us. Let me just share the email. You can reach out to us if you're interested in the discount, and then we can make the relevant plans to now upgrade you to our paid accounts. Otherwise, if there's any questions, please feel free to let us know. Any feedback that you have on FarmCloud, your feedback is actually very, very important to help us build the platform. So feel free to let us know if anyone has any remarks they'd love to make. You're very open to do so. Okay, so I've shared the email. The email is sales@cinefa.io. So yeah, just feel free to share an email there, and I'll be happy to guide you through how you can unlock the discount code. Okay. I don't know if there's any questions from anyone. If there are none, a thumbs up will be highly appreciated. Okay, I don't see any questions, but if questions come up in the course of the day, just feel free to share questions on that email. We'll be happy to address. If you love a one-on-one session with us, we'll definitely be happy to set that one up. Generally, we're very grateful. Thank you so much for attending our webinar. We'll meet same time next month. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend.